Good morning, Mid-Michigan. Thousands of students across the nation will walk out of school to protest gun violence this morning. More on that coming up.
And an Isabella County sheriff left his gun in a Shepherd Middle School locker room. Thank you for waking up with us this morning. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From Mid-Michigan, Mount Pleasant's own News Central Morning Rundown starts now.
Good morning, Mid-Michigan, and thank you for joining us for the Morning Rundown. I'm Dana White.
And I'm Michaela Kohlhaas.
Today is the day thousands of students across the nation will walk out of school to protest gun violence. The nationwide movement takes place exactly 1 month since a student walked into a Florida high school and gunned down 17 people. Nikki Batiste is at the high school in Parkland, Florida, with more on what students are hoping to gain through this massive demonstration.
At exactly 10 a.m., students from across the U.S. and even other parts of the world will walk out of their classrooms for 17 minutes, 1 minute for each victim of the massacre at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Organizers at Empower, the youth wing of the Women's March, estimate more than 3,000 schools will participate today. Leading the walkout are the students at Stoneman Douglas High School, who started the movement urging lawmakers to pass tighter gun laws.
I wanted people to know that Stoneman Douglas will be the last school that this happens to. We want it to make a change. We want to be the generation that changes everything.
Some schools across the nation are discouraging students from walking out, even reprimanding them with detention or marking them as absent for the day.
New research published in Child Development shows teenagers who participate in activism go on to higher levels of education and earn higher incomes than teenagers who don't.
Activism may help kids to develop professional skills. It may help them to connect with social networks that are really important to them. And it also may give them a way to sort of build a sense of their own capacities and potential.
Another event, the March of Our Lives rally for school safety, is scheduled for Washington, D.C. on March 24th. That demonstration is expected to draw hundreds of thousands of participants. Nikki Batiste, CBS News, Parkland, Florida.
Multiple students at CMU plan to walk out in protest. Another round of school walkouts is planned for April 20th, the 19th anniversary of the Columbine High School shooting in Colorado.
At around 2 a.m. this morning, Tuscola County deputies were notified of an armed robbery suspect originating from the city of Flint. The chase entered into Abella Township. Several attempts were made to stop the suspect with spike strips, but were unsuccessful in the beginning. The chase went to Watertown Township and headed towards Lapeer County. Tuscola deputies were successful in deploying spike strips again, which ended the chase. A 35-year-old male was taken into custody.
The Mount Pleasant City Commission will make the last call on whether an iRide bus stop and shelter will stay in Mount Pleasant or if it will be torn down. Downtown Development Director Michelle Sponseller proposed the idea of removing the shelter when the plan became controversial. The bus stop and shelter are located on Broadway Street near Main Street. The Principal Shopping District Board will meet this week to make a recommendation to the City Commission. The Commission will then meet to vote on this issue at their next meeting on March 26th.
Bringing you an update from our story on Monday morning regarding the body found in Midland. James Felton of CBS tells us more.
Whenever an officer is involved in something like this, it is a very tragic incident.
Michigan State Police Lieutenant David Kaiser talking about a series of events that led to the death of a 16-year-old boy. He says it started here on East Ashman Road in Midland very early this morning. Kaiser says police were responding to a call of people breaking into a vehicle. Officers came across two suspects. He says a short time later, the pair ran off.
During the foot pursuit, one of the suspects produced a handgun and fired at the police officer. The police officer returned fire, striking the suspect.
That suspect, a 16-year-old boy, died at the scene. A second suspect, also a 16-year-old boy, was taken into custody. Both of the teenagers are from the Midland area. As for the officers, Kaiser says none were hurt during the shootout.
The officer is a 19-year veteran, has 19 years law enforcement experience, and has been placed on paid administrative leave as a standard procedure in any officer-involved shooting.
We've learned the handgun used against the officers was stolen from a vehicle at the Holiday Inn Express on Sunday. Hotel management had no comment. As for investigators, they are asking for thoughts and prayers for friends and family of the deceased suspect, as well as the officer involved in this incident.
It comes down to him protecting his own life.
Isabella County Sheriff Michael Main is under criticism for leaving his gun in a Shepherd Middle School locker room. In a press release, Main claims that the gun, his backup weapon, was believed to have been in his bag. The gun was found Monday morning before school started, leaving teachers skeptical about who it belonged to. Main said in a statement released to CBS, start quote, "I am prepared for the harsh criticism that will follow the release of this information. I understand clearly that I have a higher level of standard that must be met, and quite frankly, I let myself, my family, and the community down. No matter how busy or how much is going on, there is no excuse for this, and I am truly sorry. This will not happen again," end quote.
A dog's bark proving far better than its bite. Greg Looney of Saginaw, Michigan is lucky to be alive. TV5's Ashlyn Hill tells us more.
I wanted to get up and move, but I just couldn't get up off my chair.
Greg Looney tells me he's lucky to be alive. After suffering a stroke last October, he's now going through recovery. But it's not just his doctors he and his wife credit with saving his life.
He has never barked that loudly. It was just a frantic, urgent, nonstop bark. And he was at the door with his face at the door the whole time.
It was almost 3 a.m. when their German Shepherd pup named Garrett began to go ballistic. Pam tells me she brushed it off at first and tried to get him to calm down, not knowing that at the other end of their home, her husband was having a medical emergency.
Greg didn't fall. He didn't drop anything. It wasn't like he made a noise and the dog was like, oh my God, and going, there was no noise from the other room. So he sensed that Greg had an issue.
The Looneys tell me the term good boy doesn't even come close to describing Garrett. To them, he's their hero.
Oh, he absolutely saved Greg's life because he got me out there to give Greg the help he needed to get him to the hospital for Dr. Adele to do what he does.
Dr. Joseph Adele is the cerebral vascular neurosurgeon the Looneys were quickly sent to, and he tells me timing truly is everything.
The faster we intervene, the faster we can revascularize the brain, which means allow the blood to go back to the brain tissue, the better people do.
As for Greg, he's just thankful for his four-legged friend and hero.
Like I said, he helped me out.
In Saginaw County, Ashlyn Hill, WNEM TV5.
As Dr. Adele said, Garrett's quick actions were critical in saving his owner's life. Some telltale signs of a stroke are face strapping, arm weakness, or speech difficulty.
That's such a cute story. I love dogs. Well, we're joined now at the desk with meteorologist Diane Phillips. I know that the Clare Irish Festival starts today. What can we expect for the weather for that?
Well, the festival looks to be a lot of fun. I might have to head up there. I know there's euchre and games and stuff, and if that isn't enough excitement, well, the weather's going to be fantastic for it. So we can't complain. The snow is over, and there'll be plenty of sun. We just have a few clouds today, but overall temperature is a little chilly, but the sun will make sure it's warm for that festival. All the full forecast coming up right after the break.
Tonight on News Central 34, an Isabella County man attempted to murder his wife and committed suicide while on the phone with police.
The federal government is placing sanctions on Russia after more developments of meddling in the 2016 election.
And many Toys R Us locations in Michigan are closing. News Central 34 starts now.
From Mid-Michigan, Mount Pleasant's own News Central at 5 o'clock starts now.
Good evening and welcome to News Central 34. I'm Emily Finn.
And I'm Alyssa Jawar. Our top story tonight.
A pedestrian bridge collapsed in Miami, Florida today, leaving one dead, many wounded, and numerous cars trapped just days after completion. The $11.4 million bridge was meant to connect Florida International University to the city of Sweetwater. The bridge was built and designed by Mid-Century Modern in partnership with Fig Bridge Engineers, with the expectation that it could withstand hurricane-force winds. The 950-ton bridge fell at the university's main Miami area campus, crushing everything underneath it. The university issued a response saying it was shocked and saddened by the tragic event and that it was working closely with authorities and first responders on the scene.
A man is dead and his wife is in critical condition after shooting in Isabella County. Dispatchers received a call just after 5 on Wednesday evening from Brad Hatt saying he had shot his 66-year-old wife, but she might not be dead. CBS's Cody Boyer has the story.
Well, after 5 o'clock, 911 received a phone call from a man. He stated that he just shot his wife.
Sheriff Michael Main says that call did not last long.
Dispatcher tried to talk to him for a few minutes. They heard a gunshot in the phone. The phone went dead.
Troopers from the emergency response team joined deputies as they set up a perimeter within minutes.
We had a couple of members go up, look in the window, seen a male who was on the ground, gun beside him. They made entry into the residence, found the male deceased.
His wife still alive.
She was talking at first when they got her in the ambulance. She kind of quit talking and so forth, deteriorating a little bit possibly.
She was taken by helicopter to Grand Rapids, where her condition for now remains a mystery, just as what may have sparked the shooting.
It's always a scary thing when you're approaching something unknown like that, but really wanted to get eyes in to see if there was somebody alive in there that needed our help.
Hat's motive still remains under investigation.
Michigan is now the 39th state to allow online voter registration after the Senate passed bills 425 through 429 on Thursday. This new legislation will give voters the option to register online and update their voter information. The Secretary of State will assist in setting up the online voter applications. To use it, people would need a valid driver's license or state ID card. The bill will not go into effect until 90 days after the bill was signed. The bills passed the Senate on a 35-1 vote.
The Trump administration announced today it is placing new sanctions on Russia. The new measures included punishments for Moscow's interference in the 2016 United States presidential election. President Donald Trump made comments today about the sanctions.
Who was behind this, Mr. President? It looks like it. I spoke with the Prime Minister, and we are in deep discussions, a very sad situation. It certainly looks like the Russians were behind it, something that should never, ever happen, and we're taking it very seriously, as I think are many others.
The new punishments include sanctions on the Internet Research Agency. The Russian troll farm produced divisive political posts on American social media platforms during the presidential election. Sanctions were also applied on 13 other individuals who were indicted by FBI Director Robert Mueller earlier this year. In addition, Mueller subpoenaed the Trump Organization earlier today.
There has been a lot of changes in President Trump's cabinet lately. Larry Kudlow was just named the new director of the National Economic Council. CBS News has more.
During a recent stretch that has already seen its fair share of comings and goings at the White House, the latest to step in, CNBC television contributor Larry Kudlow. He was named director of the National Economic Council, replacing Gary Cohn, who announced last week he was stepping down.
The president has given me a chance. I love it. I'm honored by it. I'm honored to serve my country. That's a great dream.
To date, more than 20 senior administration staffers have either been fired, resigned, or reassigned. This was the president Tuesday, shortly after pushing out Secretary of State Rex Tillerson.
I'm really at a point where we're getting very close to having the cabinet and other things that I want.
3 others who may be on the hot seat are Secretary of Veterans Affairs and Obama-era holdover David Shulkin. In February, the Inspector General determined Shulkin and his wife used taxpayer dollars on a lavish trip to Europe. He paid the money back after the findings were made public. Sources say President Trump and National Security Advisor Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster have been clashing over policy. His departure has been expected for weeks. And Secretary of Housing and Urban Development Ben Carson is facing some scrutiny for picking out a $31,000 dining room set for his office. The order was eventually canceled. Hannah Doba, CBS News.
A German Shepherd was sent to the wrong country as United Airlines continue to make the news with mistakes in pet transportation. CBS News has more.
I honestly don't know how it could happen. Like a Great Dane and a Shepherd, they're 2 completely different dogs, look nothing alike.
Kara Swindle says 10-year-old Ergo is expected home tonight, 2 days later than planned. He was put on a plane Monday in Portland, stopping overnight in a Denver kennel. But on Tuesday, instead of flying to Kansas City, he made a nearly 6,000-mile detour to Tokyo. When Ergo's owner came to pick him up, United Airlines gave her a Great Dane named Lincoln instead.
Instant tears. I just kept saying, this is not my dog. My son has been crying all day because he wants his dog.
United Airlines says we apologize for this mistake. An error occurred during connections in Denver for 2 pets sent to the wrong destinations.
Your pet is treated as cargo.
CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg says passengers should be aware of airline policies when traveling with pets.
If the airline either misplaces your dog or cat, or injures it, or kills it, your compensation is roughly the equivalent of a lost bag.
Like, there's no way to, replace him.
Sofia Ceballos and her mother Catalina Robledo are still mourning the death of their 10-month-old French bulldog Coquito, who died on a United flight Monday after a flight attendant told them to put his carrier in the overhead bin.
He was like a brother, he was like a son for my mom.
The airline is acknowledging now that it appears the family here did let the flight attendant know that there was a dog in the bag. The airline says it appears their flight attendant did not hear or did not understand that that's what they were saying. The airline insists she did not intentionally have the dog put in the overhead bin. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Chicago.
United has apologized and says it is taking full responsibility for what happened. The airline says starting in April, it will issue brightly colored tags for carry-on bags containing animals. We are welcomed at the desk by News Central's meteorologist, Woody Unruh. So Woody, it's a little chilly out there. Will it be warming up anytime soon?
Well, there is some hope in the forecast with temperatures getting near the 50 degrees by the weekend. However, cold weather is still around. Unfortunately, it looks like the trend is going to be some pretty cool weather for the next few weeks. But all those details coming up about that warmer weather this weekend after the break.
In mid-Michigan, a boy from Wayland, Michigan was saved from choking, but by firefighters hundreds of miles away. And Dick's Sporting Goods makes a big gun announcement. Thank you for waking up with us this morning. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From mid-Michigan, Mount Pleasant's own News Central Morning Rundown starts now.
Good morning and thank you for joining us for the Morning Rundown. I'm Michaela Kohlhaas. It's been so beautiful out the past 2 days, and this morning is no different. We have meteorologist Isaac Cleland outside of the studios to tell us more about this beautiful weather we've been having.
Thank you, Michaela. I'm outside the News Central 34 TV studio this morning, and we have another beautiful day out here today. We've got some sunny skies and some light winds, much lighter winds than we saw yesterday. Yesterday we saw a good deal of sunshine as well, and our high temperature made it up to 60 degrees in Mount Pleasant. That record high was set back in 2000, and we did tie that record for yesterday. Today, high temperatures are expected to be in the 50s once again, and today's record high is 52, which occurred in 2000, so we will likely be setting a new record high this afternoon as well. So overall, a very beautiful day today to get outside and enjoy the sunshine and unseasonably warm temperatures that we are experiencing this morning and into this afternoon here in mid-Michigan. But unfortunately, the warm weather can't stick around forever. We do have some changes and cooler weather coming your way as early as tomorrow, and even the chance for some snow. Meteorologist Diane Phillips will have those details for you later in the show with her forecast. For News Central 34, I'm Isaac Cleland. Now I'll send it back inside to the desk.
In Michigan, students of Vicksburg Middle School held a walkout Tuesday morning to protest gun violence. The students walked out of the school and stood silently for 17 minutes, 1 minute for each of the victims in the fatal shooting at high school in Parkland, Florida. The walkout also comes in the wake of threats against Vicksburg Middle School last week. The students say this is not just a gun control issue. The students across the country are showing their concern for the current gun laws. 2 Republicans in the Michigan House of Representatives have responded by developing legislation that could arm teachers with guns. The teachers would have to go through 80 hours of training on how to shoot a gun, gun safety, how to engage with an active shooter, and tactics to de-escalate a dangerous situation. But a speed bump on the gun issue is Governor Snyder, who vetoed legislation just days after the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary. That would have allowed concealed carry in schools for people with extra training, and he said last week that he doesn't think that having more guns available is a good thing. Dick's Sporting Goods, one of the country's largest gun retailers, announced Wednesday it will no longer sell any assault-style rifles, effective immediately. The business also said it was enacting a 21-year-old minimum age limit in order to purchase guns in general, including hunting firearms despite any regulations under local laws. Parents of the victims of the Florida shooting have already showed their support for Dick's Sporting Goods, calling this a big step in the right direction.
I will be going to Dick's Sporting Goods today to buy something because you know what? I am so proud of them and so happy that they are taking a voluntary step to make our kids safer, to make all of us safer in any public facility. And I couldn't be happier. Thank you and congratulations. What a step.
A woman in Wayland, Michigan was frantic when her teenage son began choking. She didn't have a phone, so she reached out to the fire department through Facebook. Problem was, she accidentally contacted the wrong fire department halfway across the country. Jim Smith has the story.
911, signs recorded. Where's your emergency?
When emergency calls come into Wayland Fire, the crews are quick to jump into an ambulance and head to the scene. But this time, the cry for help came online via Facebook.
Basically, a woman who basically said that her 16-year-old son was choking. She was unable to perform the Heimlich. She listed her address, which we immediately caught our attention because it was an address in Wayland, Massachusetts.
It sure wasn't. The emergency was about 800 miles away in Wayland, Michigan. The woman did not have access to a phone and accidentally contacted the Wayland, Massachusetts Fire Facebook page.
We were able to find the Wayland, Michigan Fire Department phone number and notify their dispatch, confirm the address with them that it is a valid address there, and they were able to send a response to the address to help the victim.
Seconds counted, and this trio of firefighters worked together perfectly.
Once we got the ambulance dispatched to her, I got back on the messenger app and tried to communicate with her, try and walk her through some instructions if she was having some trouble with the Heimlich and give her some pre-arrival instructions before the ambulance got there.
The Michigan crew got there in time, a job well done by all.
We had to do what we could with what we had.
Seconds do count.
The stars were absolutely in alignment. You know, it really worked out.
Way to seek help in an emergency situation. Instead, they say call 911 whenever possible. A surveillance camera recorded a man dragging the lifeless body of a partially clothed woman in Detroit. Authorities say he killed her before moving her body. Pyra Mann spoke with a witness.
The video posted to Facebook is horrific, and we've blurred most of it. A man dragging the body of a partially clothed woman near a busy road in broad daylight.
And I'm scared. I don't like to come outside. That could have been me.
It was Elizabeth Strickland's first day working at the Royal Car Wash on Plymouth and Winthrop on the west side. At first, she didn't think twice as this man walked by.
We wasn't really paying no attention because I know he was kind of off until we seen a naked lady.
Strickland says she will never forget what she witnessed Monday afternoon.
I seen a guy that brought a body from out of nowhere and dropped her right there. Then he tried to run.
She says he took off down the alley toward a nearby gas station.
I flagged the police down, the police got him. He tried to run, but I seen him drop a body right there yesterday. And I'm glad they got him because I pointed him out. I'm glad they got him.
The victim is a 58-year-old mother of two and may be homeless. Police say she died from trauma to the body.
Oh, she was laying out, she was naked, it was sad.
Detroit police believe the man killed the woman before being recorded moving her body.
I feel bad, real bad. And I feel lost for the family.
Is in custody and is awaiting charges in the death. It's International Polar Bear Day, and zoos across the country are honoring polar bears and drawing attention to a greater issue. Polar bears who were placed on the endangered species list in 2008 still face the possibility of going extinct today. The Detroit Zoo is holding free educational activities to teach the public about problems polar bears face in the wild. Activities will be held today between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. from zookeeper talks, educational activities, to photo opportunities with the DZS's polar bear mascot. White House Senator advises Jared Kushner access to classified information has been scaled back. The move follows months of delays in completing his background check. John Shumio reports from New York.
Jared Kushner no longer has access to President Trump's daily intelligence brief. The senior advisor to the White House, who is also the president's son-in-law, had his security clearance downgraded late last week.
Mr. President, on Jared's downgraded clearance, sir, any concerns?
Kushner had been granted access to top secret information while the FBI completed his background check. White House Chief of Staff John Kelly has now changed that.
General Kelly respects Jared a lot, and General Kelly will make that call. I won't make that call.
Kushner's FBI background check has been delayed for months after he refiled paperwork 3 times because of undisclosed contacts with foreign nationals. White House officials downplayed the downgrade.
He will continue to do the important work that he's been doing since he started in the administration.
In a statement, Kushner's spokesperson told CBS News, as to his security clearance, Mr. Kushner has done more than what is expected of him in this process. John Schumo, CBS News, New York.
I have meteorologist Diane Phillips here with me. Diane, it was pretty warm out today. Is that going to stay around, or?
Well, we had more temperatures yesterday and today, so they'll be sticking around for a couple more hours. That is, we do have some cooler weather coming and some snow that's on its way. Thursday morning, we're going to start with a little rain, and then we'll switch off to that snow. The snow amounts, I'll have those details right after the break, so stay tuned.
I'll have more details coming up later in the show, but now we're going to throw it back to the desk.
In case you missed it, the FBI received a warning about the alleged suspect, Nicholas Cruz, from the Parkland, Florida shooting. Officials were told about an internet posting that the suspect made that said he wanted to be a professional school shooter.
And McDonald's has removed cheeseburgers and chocolate milk from their list of Happy Meal menu options in an effort to reduce calories. By June of 2018, McDonald's has vowed to get all Happy Meals at 600 calories or less.
And Trump publicly condemned domestic violence 1 week after Rob Porter resigned due to abuse allegations.